good evening, and welcome wherever you are. And whatever this day has asked of you, you can lay it all down now. The day is over. There is nothing more it needs from you. Nothing left to finish. Nothing left to carry into the night. So let us begin the way we always begin. With one slow breath. Draw it in gently and let it go. Let your body grow heavy where it rests. Let your shoulders soften and fall. Let your hands lie still and open. Feel the surface beneath you, holding all of your weight, so that you no longer have to hold any of it yourself. You do not need to stay awake for this. Truly, you do not. If sleep comes for you while the story is still being told, then let it come, and let it carry you off into the soft dark. You will lose nothing. The story is only here to walk beside you for a little while, down toward the quiet country of sleep. So, we will not hurry. We will move slowly tonight, the way mist moves slowly across a green hillside, the way a small boat drifts on a calm gray sea. We will linger in each place before we move on. Tonight, we are going to Ireland. Not the Ireland of today, but a far older Ireland. The Ireland of green hills and gray seas and endless soft rain. Of round green mounds in the fields where, the old people said, the fairy folk still lived. Of mists that rolled in off the western ocean and hid the world in white. The Ireland of the old Celtic stories, which are among the most beautiful and the most haunting that human beings have ever told. And we are going, tonight, to follow one of those stories all the way out across the Western Sea to a place the old Irish believed in with all their hearts, a land beyond the waves, a land where no one ever grew old, and no one was ever sick, and no one ever died. A land of eternal youth, an endless, gentle summer. They called it Tir na Anog, the land of the young. It is a story about a man who went to that land and lived there in happiness, beyond the reach of time, and about what happened when, at last, he longed to come home. It is a story, in the end, about time itself, about the way it slips past us, and about the strange and gentle truth that the things we love and leave behind do not wait for us. But it is not a sad story, not really. It is a soft one, a misty one, the kind of story that is made to be told in the evening by a low fire, while the rain falls outside and the night comes down. So, there is nowhere you need to be, nothing you need to do. Only rest and listen, and let the old story carry you out across the sea, toward the land of the young. Let your breathing slow just a little more, and let us begin in the green and misted land of old Ireland, where the hills are hollow and the fairy folk are near. The old Irish believed that the world they could see was not the only world. All around them, woven through the green hills and the gray seas of Ireland, there lay another world, a hidden one, a world just beside our own, separated from it by the thinnest of veils, by no more than a drift of mist, a turn in the road, a doorway that opened only at certain times, in certain places, to certain people. They called it, simply, the Otherworld, and it was a place of wonder, and of beauty, and of a strange and timeless peace. To understand where it came from, you must know a little of the old story of Ireland itself, for the Irish believed that long ago, before human beings ruled the Green Island, it had belonged to a race of gods, a beautiful and powerful people, skilled in magic and music and every craft, who had come to Ireland out of the mists of the north. They were called the Tuatha De Danann, the people of the goddess Danu. and for a long age they ruled the land, fair and bright and deathless. But in time, the ancestors of human beings came to Ireland across the sea, and there was a great struggle for the land between the old gods and the new people. And in the end, an agreement was reached, a division of the island. But it was a strange division, for the humans were given the surface of Ireland, the green fields and the open hills, all the land that lies above the ground. And the Tuatha De Danann, the old gods, were given everything below. And so the old gods went down. They withdrew from the surface world, and they passed into the hollow places beneath the green hills, into the ancient mounds, the grassy barrows that dot the Irish countryside, the great stone tombs older than memory. Each of these, the Irish believed, was a doorway, and through those doorways, the old gods passed into their hidden kingdom beneath the earth, and there they remained, and there, the old people said, they remain to this very day. The Irish called them, after that, the AOC, the people of the mounds. The fairy folk, though they were not the small-winged creatures we might imagine, they were tall and fair and beautiful, the old deathless gods, living on in their hidden halls beneath the green hills, in a world of music and feasting and eternal youth, just beneath the feet of the mortal people who farmed the fields above. And this hidden world had many names and many regions. Beneath the hills lay the halls of the sea, but out beyond the western sea, past the edge of the known world, where the sun went down into the waves, there lay the fairest of all the otherworld lands, a land you could sail to if you knew the way, or if one of the fair folk came to fetch you. They called it by lovely names: Mag Mell, the plain of honey, the field of the light, and Tir na Gach, the land of the young. And in that land, all the sorrows of the mortal world were unknown. There was no sickness there and no pain. There was no hunger and no want. The trees were always heavy with fruit, and the meadows were always green, and the music never stopped, and the feasting never ended. And most wonderful of all, in that land, no one ever grew old. Time did not touch the land of the young. To live there was to live forever, young and strong and glad, in an endless golden summer that would never fade into autumn. It sounds like a perfect place, and perhaps it was. But our story tonight will show us something gentle and surprising about even the most perfect of places. That even in a land beyond all sorrow, the heart can still long for home. But we're not there yet. First, we must meet the man who went there. And to meet him, we must go back to the green hills of mortal Ireland, in the great age of its heroes, and walk for a while with a band of warriors and a poet among them in the last golden days before everything changed. In the old days of Ireland, in the age of heroes, there was a great band of warriors called the Fianna. They were the finest fighting men in all of Ireland, sworn to defend the land, to guard its shores against invaders, and to keep the peace of its kings. But they were more than just soldiers. They lived for much of the year out in the wild green country, in the forests and on the hills, hunting the deer and the wild boar, sleeping beneath the open sky, living close to the land in a way that the old Irish remembered with great love. To join the Fianna, it was said, a man had to be not only a great warrior, but also a poet. He had to know the old songs and the old stories. For among the Fianna, strength and beauty went together, the sword and the song. And the greatest leader the Fianna ever had was a man named Finn mac Cumhaill. Finn was a hero of heroes, wise and strong and just, who had gained in his youth a great gift of knowledge and poetry. Under his leadership, the Fianna entered their golden age, and the stories of their hunts and their battles and their wanderings were told and retold in Ireland for more than 1,000 years. And Finn had a son, and it is the son, not the father, who is the hero of our story tonight. His name was Oisin. Oisin was, by all accounts, the finest of all the Fianna, after Finn himself. He was a great warrior, brave and strong. But above all, Oisin was a poet, the greatest poet of the Fianna, and one of the greatest in all the long history of Ireland. It was Oisin, the old stories say, who remembered the deeds of the Fianna and made them into songs and kept them alive. His very name carried the music in it, and there was something in Oisin, some softness, some sensitivity beneath the warrior's strength that made him the one of all the Fianna, most open to the call of the otherworld when at last it came. Picture them then on an ordinary day in the golden age of the Fianna, a bright morning in the green hills of Ireland, the band of warriors out hunting, their hounds running ahead through the heather, the mist still lying in the low places, the dew still on the grass. Finn at their head and Oisin beside him, young and strong and glad, with the whole green world spread out before them, and a long life of hunting and feasting and song stretching ahead. This was the world Oisin knew, the world he loved, the hills and the hunts, the company of his father and his friends, the old songs sung around the fire at night. He could not have imagined wanting any other life. He could not have imagined leaving it. But on this particular morning, as the Fianna rested by the shore of a lake, with the mist lying soft upon the water, something came to them out of that mist, something that would call Oisin away from everything he knew, out across the sea, to the land of the young. And nothing, after that morning, would ever be quite the same again. For out of the mist, across the still water, there came a rider, and the rider was like nothing any of them had ever seen. She came riding out of the western mist, across the surface of the water itself. The Fianna, resting by the shore, looked up, and they saw her coming, and they fell silent, every one of them, in wonder. For she rode upon a horse, a white horse, white as sea foam, white as snow, and the horse came on across the top of the water as easily as if it were riding over a green meadow, its hooves barely seeming to touch the waves. And upon its back sat a young woman of such beauty that the warriors could only stare. She was a princess of the otherworld. Her gown was woven of something that shimmered like the sea under sunlight, blue and silver and green, and her hair, her long hair, fell down all about her, and it was the color of gold, of pure bright gold, shining in the misty light. And for this she was called Niamh Chin Or, Niamh of the golden hair. She was a daughter of the king of Tir na Nog, of the land of the young itself, come riding across the sea, on her white horse, into the mortal world. She came to a halt before the wondering warriors, and Finn, their leader, stepped forward and greeted her, and asked her who she was, and what she sought, that she had come from so far across the western sea. And Niamh answered him. Her voice, the old story says, was sweeter than any music. And she told them that she was the daughter of the king of the land of the young. And then she told them why she had come, She had heard, even in her own far country, of the Fianna and of their fame, and, most of all, she had heard of Oisin. She had heard of his courage and of his gentleness, and above all of his poetry, of the beauty of his songs. And though she had never seen him, she had come to love him. Across all that distance, for the things that were said of him, and she had crossed the sea to the mortal world to find him and to ask him to come away with her, back to the land of the young, to be her husband, and to live with her there, beyond the reach of sorrow and of age and of death, forever. And she turned her eyes to Oisin, and Oisin looked up at her, at this shining woman on her sea-white horse, with her golden hair falling all about her, and something in him answered her at once. The poet's heart in him, the part of him that had always been most open to wonder and to beauty, was caught and held and lost. He had loved his life among the Fianna, but here, before him, was something from beyond the edge of the world, something out of the old songs themselves, calling him by name. And Niamh, seeing that she had reached him, began to sing of her country. To draw him further, she sang of the land of the young, of its beauty and its peace. She sang of a land where the summer never ended, where the trees bent low with sweet fruit in every season, where there was honey and wine in abundance, and music in the air, and no sorrow anywhere, and no sickness, and no death. She sang of 100 swords and 100 cloaks of silk, of feasting and of joy that would never end. And she promised him that there, with her, he would never grow old, that his strength and his youth and his beauty would last forever, in an endless golden day. It was too much to refuse, and perhaps Oisin, the poet, who had spent his life loving beautiful things, was always going to say yes to this most beautiful thing of all. He rose to his feet, and though it grieved him to leave his father and his friends, the longing for the shining land and for the shining woman who offered it was greater than anything that held him. And his father, Finn, watching, knew that he was losing his son, for there is no holding anyone once the Otherworld has called them by name and they have answered. Finn grieved, but he did not try to stop him, and the Fianna gathered around to bid Oisin farewell with heavy hearts, sensing perhaps that they would not see him again. And Oisin embraced his father and took his leave of his companions, and then he climbed up onto the sea-white horse, behind Niamh of the golden hair, and she turned the horse toward the west, toward the sea, toward the land of the young. The white horse turned toward the water and began to run, and it did not sink. It ran out across the surface of the sea, across the tops of the waves, with Niamh and Oisin upon its back, faster and faster, out toward the western horizon, leaving the green shore of Ireland behind. Oisin looked back once and saw his father and the Fianna standing on the shore, growing smaller, watching him go, until the mist closed over them and they were gone. And then he turned his face to the west and held to Niamh, and they rode on, out across the endless sea. And it was a strange and wondrous journey, for the way to the land of the young did not lie through ordinary waters. As they rode, the old story says, they passed through marvels. The sea around them shifted and changed. They rode through sudden mists and out again into golden light. They saw strange and beautiful things upon the waves and beneath them. At one point, the story says, a young deer ran past them across the surface of the water, white and swift, chased by a white hound with one red ear. the colors of the other world. At another, they saw a beautiful young woman riding the waves on a brown horse, carrying a golden apple in her hand. And once, they saw a young man on a white horse, his cloak streaming behind him, pursuing a maiden of great beauty across the sea. These were glimpses, perhaps, of other stories, other journeys, other souls being carried away into the other world. Oisin saw them pass like figures in a dream, and Niamh bid him not to mind them, but to ride on. And then, at last, a great storm seemed to gather around them, wind and dark water, and for a while the world was lost in spray and shadow. And Oisin held tight to Niamh, and the white horse never faltered, never slowed, but ran on through the heart of the storm. And then, as suddenly as it had come, the storm parted. The clouds drew back, and the sea before them grew calm and golden and still. And there, ahead of them, rising up out of the bright water, was a land. It was the most beautiful land that Oisin had ever seen. Even from a distance, even across the shining water, he could see that it was a place out of dream. Green hills, greener than any in Ireland, flowering meadows that ran down to the very edge of the sea, forests heavy with blossom and with fruit, both at once, and rising among the trees, the shapes of palaces, with walls that seemed to shine, gold and white and gleaming in a soft and sourceless light, and over all of it lay a warmth, a gentle and golden warmth, like the best hour of the best afternoon of summer, holding still and never fading. They had come to Tir na Nog, the land of the young, and the white horse ran up out of the sea, onto the soft green shore. And Oisin, looking about him at the beauty of that land, felt his heart lift with a joy he had never known. He had left the mortal world behind. He had crossed the western sea, and he had come, alive and young, to the deathless land of the young with the shining woman he loved. And it seemed to him, in that first golden moment, that he had everything that any soul could ever want, and that he would want for nothing ever again. And for a long time, it was so. Oisin and Niamh were married, in the land of the young, with a feast and a celebration such as Oisin had never seen. And then began the happiest time of Oisin's life. For the land of the young was everything that Niamh had promised, and more. It was a place utterly without sorrow. The sun shone always, soft and golden, never too hot and never fading. The trees carried blossom and fruit at the same time, forever, so that one could pluck a sweet apple while the petals still drifted down. The rivers ran clear and bright. The meadows were full of flowers that never wilted, and everywhere there was music, drifting on the warm air, music of harps and of voices, so sweet that it seemed to come from the land itself. And the people of that land were beautiful and kind and forever young. They feasted and they sang, and they rode out to the hunt in the golden mornings, and they wandered in the flowering woods in the golden afternoons. There was no sickness among them. There was no aging. No one grew weak or gray or bent. No one ever died. Time, which presses so heavily on all of us in the mortal world, which steals our days and silvers our hair and carries away everyone we love, had no power at all in the land of the young. It simply did not touch the place. To live there was to live in an endless present, a single perfect golden day that went on and never came to its evening. And Oisin lived in this happiness with Niamh, his golden-haired wife, and he wanted for nothing. He hunted in the deathless woods. He feasted in the shining halls. He made his poetry, and the people of the otherworld, who loved music above all things, treasured his songs. And he and Niamh had children together, and lived in a joy that, in the mortal world, simply cannot last. Because in the mortal world nothing lasts. But here it lasted. Here the joy went on. And how long did it go on? This is the strange heart of the story. For in the land of the young, where there was no aging and no change, there was also, in a sense, no time. The golden days did not add up the way mortal days add up. There was no winter to mark the turning of a year, no growing old to mark the passing of a life. The days were all alike, all golden, all perfect, and they flowed together like a single endless afternoon. And so Oisin, living in that timeless place, lost all sense of how long he had been there. It might have been months, it might have been years. To him, in the eternal golden present of the land of the young, it felt like no time at all, and like forever, both at once. But in the mortal world he had left behind, in green Ireland across the western sea, time was passing in the ordinary way. The days were adding up, and the years, and the long centuries. And while it seemed to Oisin that he had been in the land of the young for only a little while, 3 years, perhaps, of golden happiness, in Ireland, 300 years were passing. 300 years. Long enough for everything he had known to crumble into dust and pass out of the world and be half forgotten. But Oisin did not know this, could not have known it. He was happy in the timeless land, with his golden wife and his children and his songs. And he might have stayed there happy forever, beyond the reach of time and sorrow. Except for one thing, one small, quiet, mortal thing, that even the land of the young could not entirely take away. He began to miss home. It came upon him slowly, the longing. At first it was nothing, just a passing thought, a faint stir of memory. He would be feasting in the golden halls, and a song would remind him of another song, one his father used to sing, by a fire in the green hills of Ireland, long ago. Or he would be hunting in the deathless woods, and the cry of a hound would carry him back, for just a moment, to the hunts of the Fianna in the cool mists of an Irish morning. Small things, flickers of memory, easy at first to let pass. But they did not pass. They grew. For this is the strange truth that the land of the young could not change. Oisin had been happy there, deeply and truly happy. He loved Niamh. He loved his children. He loved the golden peace of that deathless land. And yet, beneath all of that happiness, there had begun to grow a quiet ache, an ache that had no name at first, but that he came at last to recognize. It was homesickness, the simple, mortal longing for the place that had made him. For Ireland, for the green hills and the gray seas and the soft rain. For his father, Finn. For his old companions, the Fianna. For the world he had left behind, on a misty morning so very long ago. It is a strange and a moving thing when you think about it. Oisin had everything. He lived in a paradise beyond all sorrow, with the woman he loved, forever young, with no pain and no sickness and no death. And still, his heart turned back across the western sea toward the imperfect, mortal, sorrowful land of his birth, as though there were something in the very imperfection of home, in its mists and its griefs and its passing seasons, that the perfect golden land could never replace. And the longing grew until at last he could not hide it. And Niamh, who loved him, saw the sorrow in him and asked him what was wrong. And Oisin told her. He told her of his homesickness, of his longing to see Ireland once more, to see his father and his friends, to walk again in the green hills where he had been young. He did not wish to leave her, he said. He only wished to go back, for a little while, to visit the land of his birth, and then to return to her, and to the land of the young. And when Niamh heard this, a great sadness came over her, for she knew something that Oisin did not. She knew how much time had truly passed. She knew that the Ireland he longed for was gone, that his father and the Fianna were 300 years dead, that the world he remembered had crumbled away into the past. And she feared, too, the danger of the mortal world for one who had lived so long in the land of the young. But she could not refuse him. She loved him too well to keep him against his will, aching with a longing she could not heal. And so, at last, she agreed. She would let him go back to Ireland, to see the land of his birth. But she gave him her white horse, the sea-white horse that could carry him across the waves. And she gave him one warning, one single vital warning, upon which everything would depend. When you reach Ireland, she said, you may look upon it, you may ride through it, but you must not, for any reason, dismount from this horse. You must not let your feet touch the soil of Ireland, not once. For if you do, if your foot so much as brushes the mortal ground, you will never be able to return to me, and all the years that have passed will fall upon you at once. Stay upon the horse, she said. Whatever you see, whatever happens, do not get down, and then come back to me. And Oisin promised, of course he promised. What was a single warning set against the joy of seeing home again? He would stay upon the horse. He would not get down. He would visit Ireland, and then he would come back to the land of the young, to Niamh forever. And he kissed his wife farewell, and mounted the sea-white horse, and turned its head toward the east, toward the mortal world, toward home. The white horse ran back across the sea, the way it had come, and bore Oisin, at last, to the shores of Ireland. And Oisin, his heart full, rode up onto the green land of his birth, looking eagerly all about him for the world he remembered, for the halls of the Fianna, for the faces of his father and his friends. But something was wrong. The land was the same, and yet it was not. The hills were where they had always been. The rivers ran in their old courses, but everything upon the land had changed. The great hall of the Fianna, where he had feasted with his father, was gone. Where it had stood, there were only grassy mounds and tumbled, moss-grown stones, the ruins of something old beyond memory. The roads had changed. The fields were divided differently, and the people he saw as he rode were strange to him. They were smaller than he remembered the men of Ireland being, and they looked at him on his great white horse with fear and with wonder, as though he were a giant out of an old tale. For Oisin was looking at an Ireland 300 years older than the one he had left. The Fianna were long gone. His father, Finn, was 3 centuries dead. The whole golden age he remembered had passed away and faded into legend, and the people he now rode among knew the Fianna only as old stories, half believed, of heroes who had lived long, long ago. He had come home and found that home no longer existed, that had crumbled away into the past while he feasted in the timeless land, and that he was now a stranger, 300 years out of his own time, riding through a world that had forgotten him. A great grief came over Oisin then, but he rode on, searching, perhaps hoping that somewhere, somehow, something of his old world remained. And then he came upon a group of men by the side of the road, struggling with a great stone. They were trying to move it, to lift it, and they could not, for it was too heavy for them, and they were, to Oisin's eyes, small and weak, far weaker than the men of the Fianna had been, and they were straining and failing, and the great stone would not move. And Oisin, the old hero, the son of Finn, felt pity for them. And he was strong, far stronger than these small men of the new age, for he had the strength of the Fianna and of the land of the young still in him. And without thinking, moved only by the wish to help, he leaned down from his horse and put out his hand, and took hold of the great stone to lift it for them. And he had forgotten. In his pity, in his moment of strength, he had forgotten the one warning. For as he leaned down and strained to lift the stone, the saddle girth of the sea-white horse snapped, and Oisin lost his balance, and he fell. He fell from the horse, down, and his body struck the ground. His feet, his hands, touched the mortal soil of Ireland, and in that instant, everything that Niamh had warned him of came to pass. The white horse, freed of its rider, gave a great cry and turned and fled away to the west, back toward the sea, back toward the land of the young, and was gone forever. And Oisin never saw it again. And upon the ground where he had fallen, the 300 years that had not touched him in the land of the young fell upon him all at once, in a single moment, before the eyes of the astonished men he had stopped to help. The great young hero on the white horse withered. The strength went out of his limbs. His back bent. His golden hair turned white and thin and fell. His smooth skin creased and folded into the deep lines of unimaginable age. The young warrior, the poet of the Fianna, became, in the space of a breath, a very old man, ancient beyond all reckoning, blind and frail and white, lying helpless upon the grass. 300 years arriving all at once, for he had touched the mortal earth. And the mortal earth had claimed back all the time that the land of the young had held away from him. The door to Tir na Nog had closed. The white horse was gone. And Oisin, the last of the Fianna, lay old and blind beneath the Irish sky. 300 years from the world he had loved and could never now go home again, to either home, the green hills of his birth, or the golden land beyond the sea. So that is the story of Oisin, and of Niamh of the golden hair, and of the land of the young beyond the western sea. It is a sorrowful story at its ending. The old hero, fallen, withered, lying blind upon the grass, having lost both of his worlds at once. The old Irish did not shy away from sorrow in their tales. They knew, better than most, about loss, and about the way time carries everything away, and they told the truth about it, even in their most beautiful stories. And yet, there is something in this story that is not sorrowful at all, something gentle and even comforting, if you look for it. For notice what it was that called Oisin home. Not boredom, not unhappiness. He was happy in the land of the young, truly happy, beyond all sorrow. What called him back was love. Love for his home, for his father, for the green hills that had made him. Even paradise could not erase that love. Even an eternity of golden afternoons could not replace the imperfect, mortal, beloved world he had come from. There is something in that worth holding on to. That home, with all its sorrows and all its passing, is its own kind of treasure, one that even heaven cannot quite replace. And notice, too, that the land of the young did not vanish. It is still there, the old Irish believed, out beyond the western sea, beyond the sunset, golden and timeless and waiting. Oisin lost his way back to it because he touched the mortal earth. But the land itself remains. The endless summer is still shining, somewhere past the edge of the world. The harps are still playing. Niamh of the golden hair is still there, with her sea-white horse in the deathless land. The door only closed for Oisin. The land beyond it is eternal. And that, in the end, is the gentle thing this old story leaves with you, here, tonight. As you lie in the quiet at the close of your day, there is a timeless land just beyond the edge of the ordinary world, a place where the cares of the day cannot follow, where time loosens its grip, where there is only peace and rest and a soft golden light that does not fade. You cannot reach it by ship, but you reach it gently every single night, for sleep is its own land of the young, a place out beyond the western sea of your waking thoughts, where the clock stops and the worries of the day fall away, and you rest for a while, beyond the reach of time. And unlike Oisin, you do not have to fear the journey back, for you will come home from this other world easily in the morning when the light returns. The mortal day will be waiting for you with all its imperfect, beloved ordinariness, and you will step back into it gently, the way you step back into an old familiar room. There is no fall for you, no lost horse, no closing door, only the soft going out tonight across the western sea of sleep, and the easy coming back in the morning with the dawn. So let yourself go now, out across that quiet water. Let the green shore of your waking day grow small behind you and fade into the mist. Let the white horse carry you over the calm waves, toward the golden land where time does not reach, and there is nothing to do and nowhere to be, and only rest and rest and rest. The land beyond the sea is waiting. The endless summer is shining. And in the morning, gently, the dawn will carry you home. But that is for later. That is for the morning. For now, there is only the soft sea and the white horse and the golden land ahead. So rest now, let go. Ride out across the water. The morning will carry you home. Good night.